Howdy, Internet. Today we are setting up this authentic Jimi Hendrix Fender Stratocaster made in Mexico. It's got the signature on the headstock here. And of course, I guess the laser engraved plate. That's kind of cool. Reverse headstock. And so this one is action's kind of low. So it's kind of buzzy, kind of plinky. We're going to raise the action a little bit and then reprofile it with the radius gauge. Clean it a little bit, and then we're going to put on these GHS 10 to 38s. A lot of these products you can get off our website. This kind of forum is not necessarily a how-to or show and tell. I'm doing these videos, well, not only to kind of document the work I do, but also have this as an open forum for discussion. So it's kind of like, well, watch me work on a guitar while I answer questions that y'all may have about gear or products or music or guitar tech work or anything music related or stuff that's related to the store myself. On this guitar, on the bass side, we have, it's a little low to my liking. Some people are going to say this is high, and it's not. It's low. .364 on the bass side. It needs to be like 5. And then .364 on the treble side. It has a little bit of relief, so that's not like me loosening the truss rod is going to make this much better. It has about the right amount of relief, maybe a little bit more, but the main issue of why this sounds like it does is because of the string height. So we're going to raise that. I have a Bondhus 0.5 Allen key, and we sell these on the website. These little tools you can pick up from us. Same thing with the GHS strings, same thing with the 65 cleaner. Those are all products we offer on the website. So what I like to do is, these are the old strings, obviously. You haven't seen me put any new ones on yet. I'm almost out of screw on these on this saddle right here. That's probably as high as we can even go, unless I come up with some longer screws. That puts it right at 4/64. Let's see this, how we can go. I think that's it. I don't think this going to allow any more than that. That's maximum. Huh. .464, because that's maxed out. I don't really want to shim the neck in this case, or I have to dig up longer screws. I want to try to do everything as is. Let's see. Let's see what we get. No, I think we can come up a little higher. Yeah. Up higher on the bass side. So what I like to do the E strings, the outside strings, and then I'll use the radius gauge to set all the middle ones. All right, so I got both the outside strings that are roughly 1/16, and then now we're going to come in with the radius gauge. Let's set the height of the middle strings. I'm going to start by just raising all of these. Now this guitar, I should have mentioned this at first, but this guitar is going to be set up in E flat. So that's why I'm raising these and not necessarily detuning it, because we do have that little bit of leeway in the tuning that I can make these adjustments and not necessarily harm the guitar. These are moving smoothly. So what I like to do in the case of a setup is I try to do as much as I can within reason with the old strings on, and then from there I'll swap the strings and then finish the calibration. A lot of times I like to position the guitar like this and sight down it when I use the understring radius gauge to do this. Okay, so these middle strings are too low. They need to come up. So basically you just you set all these strings just to barely touch the top of the radius gauge. Oh, I hate when the Allen key gets stuck in the screw. It's difficult. So yeah, these had to come up a decent amount. I'm going to loosen these now. Oh, got my tool. So yeah, aside from guitar setups and stringings and repair jobs, I think I'm gonna start also streaming some of the unboxing, and it wouldn't necessarily be individual product unboxing. I think I'm just gonna do like the orders I get, so we can see kind of routinely the products I get that move kind of frequently. Well, basically you'll see the unboxing of the orders I make, and then also showcase some of the new and current products, popular products we carry. I try to order new things every order, just so we're constantly expanding our inventory with more choices for the customer. And so as those come in, I think I'm gonna showcase those in a couple live streams as well. So I'll be still be doing this too. All right, we got those. I may sweeten that a little bit after the new strings are on. I'm going to do a quick tune just to see where this is at. E flat. Okay, that already tells me what I need to know here. It's no longer buzzing because the string action isn't too low anymore. It's about the proper height. So good. And then also I have just a wee bit I can loosen the truss rod to make it just that much more sweeter. But I'm going to do that, I think. No, I'll do it now. I'll do it now. Get in here with, I believe it's this size. Oh, and it is. I don't even know what size this is. 3/16. And we're just going to loosen it. That was barely an eighth of a turn, and that's all we need. You don't have to do very major adjustments on truss rods. especially if it's as close as it was. The intonation I'm going to check after the new strings are on. These strings are kind of old, kind of had it. So I guess it's time to take them off. For this, for Strats, it's quicker if I just cut them. I know some people cringe when I do this, but makes it easy to remove. Boom, half of them are off. And then I like to cut them because it makes this process, getting this side out, easier, because you don't have the little curly cues to catch into the bridge, catch on the bridge. Let's see, the next another good use for these is if you have a string that's stuck, you can also just kind of poke it through when the ball end gets stuck in the bridge like that. You'll know what I mean if you've done these before. And the wrench makes a good tool just to kind of knock it loose to where you can remove all these, like so. Boom. The biggest issue with this one was the string height, and we just took care of that. So the rest of this is just kind of basic maintenance and cleaning. Get a nice microfiber cloth. And this is a maple neck, so we will not be using the lemon oil on it. The lemon oil is a product only for rosewood and ebony fretboards, barewood dark fretboards. These frets look pretty clean. I don't need to go over it with the steel wool. It's dirtier on the pickguard than it was on the fretboard. Dunlop 65 cleaner is, I don't know, I guess it's just like a mild cleaning agent. You can't really have anything too aggressive or too acidic or anything to clean a variety of guitars. Authentic Hendrix, although it's a right-handed guitar, and only the headstock's backwards, and not even the pickups, because I guess if Hendrix played a right-handed guitar backwards, the pickups and strung it backwards, the pickup hole heights would be a little bit different. I guess that wouldn't matter too much. I think it'd only matter on the A and the B string. I guess I'm splitting hairs here. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know a lot about Hendrix and the history, or at least of his gear history. All right, a little bit of a graphite into the nut slot. Another place I like to put a graphite is right here where the string makes contact with the saddle, just in case there's anything there. Graphite will clean it up a little bit, add a little bit of layer of lubricant. Color in the nut slots. It's string time. Now this is kind of a interesting size, 10 to 38. This was requested by the owner of this guitar. He wanted this size. So it's like a normal, well, it's not like a normal size, normal set of 10s. It's a set of 10s, and then the heavy strings are lighter. Or the bass strings are of a lighter gauge than normal, I should say. On Strats, I like to put them all through the bridge first, but correctly. I have to go in the correct holes here after all. All in all, this is a pretty straightforward, simple kind of setup and maintenance on this. We're going to intonate it too using the Peterson clip-on tuner. Awesome, very accurate tuner. We sell these. You can get these on the website. More accurate than the Snark tuners. Also, they pick up a larger range. They are not lying when they claim that. I will vouch for them, but it's Peterson. I don't have to vouch for Peterson products. They practically invented tuning. Oh, really? They invented, or, you know, I guess, I don't know about invented, but they world's leader in, I guess, strobe tuners, tuning technology. All right, a couple more strings left. I just like to lean these up against my shoulder here so I can throw these in pretty easy. Got both hands to work with. And it's leaning up against my shoulder, and then I just get them all through. There we go. One last sprucing up. Now the buzzing on this guitar was caused by the action being too low. Sometimes old strings can buzz. Sometimes you don't have to do any work. You can just put on new strings and then your problems go away, provided it's strung correctly. Okay, vintage tuners. Well, I think this is the first time of me doing vintage tuners on film. So what I do, I normally take it, I usually measure with my hand the length of 3 or 4 of these. I think 3 would be appropriate. I'm going to do 4, and then I may change my mind. But 4, that.
So you'll call later, or do you want me to take a message? We're open 11
There you go. I'm going to cut it right there. That may be too much. I may cut that shorter. Let me see how much it winds. It's been a minute, and I forgot how long I do these for. Let's see. We'll know real quick. No, that's fine. Okay, yeah. 4. Measuring that long, about 2.5 inches or so. I got a ruler right here. Let's see how long that is. 3 inches. So about 3 inches beyond the length of the tuner you need to wrap the string around. In other words, I just go like this and then move it here, and then that's my here, there. That's about where I cut it. Boop. And we run it through. Tighten it around. I got to remember that this is going to be tuned in E flat. E flat standard. Measure 4. Measure 4. halfway done. A little bit more than halfway, I guess. Some people have mixed feelings about these, what they call, I guess, vintage style tuners. And then I would agree with most of the pros and cons about them that most people have. But one thing I do like is after they're strung, since you stick the end inside the tuner, there's nothing sharp to poke you up here. So that is one thing I do like about the vintage style tuners, is nothing to poke you. I guess if the bushings are set well, these aren't bad tuners. I mean, they're not like locking tuners. But if the bushings set well, and in this guitar they are, they can stay in tune fairly well. It all depends, though. Depends on how you play it. Depends on how well it's strung. You know, it depends on the weather, the humidity, the position of the moon. All right, cool. All strings are on. I'm going to use the Peterson tuner. Make sure it's not set on bass. GTR is guitar, I'm assuming. Ooh, way too high. Way too high. G sharp. C sharp. F sharp. That was way over. A sharp. D sharp. All right. Since I'm here, I'm going to double check the string height like I said I would. Under string action gauge. I need to raise the A string. Glad I checked. A string needs to come up, and I think the rest are okay. Here we go. Let's see what it is. A little more. Now the G needs to come up. Just a little bit. too high. Bring it down a little. All right, cool. One last tune and the intonation. Maybe when I intonate this, I kind of explain as I go and then about how to do that. Okay, as cool as this reverse headstock looks, doesn't make tuning it on the bench easy. Lovely. No buzz. That took care of it. So find my ruler and measure the string height. Yeah, we put this about exactly where I wanted it. 5/64, 4/64. All right, intonation. This I do one string at a time. When the tuner wants to read properly, D sharp, and then D sharp's in tune. See if I can do this where we both can see. Okay, so it's sharp at the 12th fret. So what we need to do is increase the length because the distance between the 12th fret and the bridge is too short. That's why it's sharp. So to make it, bring it back to the correct pitch, we need to increase the length by bringing the saddle back. And then that will lower the pitch at the 12th fret. We bring it back, retune, wash, rinse, repeat. D sharp. I'm trying to angle it where y'all can see it, but then I can't read it. Needs to come back just a little bit more. Retune. Still slightly sharp. Almost there, just barely a little bit, and we'll get there. That's pretty close, but I can't move this back anymore. Next string. G sharp, 12th fret. A slightly sharp G sharp. Gonna pull this back. I'm gonna lubricate those a little bit. They're a little bit tough. Got these lubricating pins on Amazon. They work okay. All right, bring this back a little bit. So if the string is sharp, you increase the distance. If it's flat, you decrease the distance. That's how I think of it when I intonate. Tune the open string, 12th fret. Still sharp, not as much though, because we've adjusted it. We need to come back more. So if you saw me there, I was pushing back on the saddle as I was tightening the screw. Those prevent the threads from stripping. Just a smidge more, and that's good. There we go. C. And C sharp, rather. This is half step. That's a sharp C sharp. This one's very far forward, so I'm going to move this back at least until the spring hits. Parts of this little spring flopping around here may be partially the cause of some buzz on this instrument, so maybe by tightening that up, one less thing that's going to be buzzing. Go back just a little bit more. There we go. Gonna sound just like Jimi Hendrix after this. So far, that's the closest one, but it's still a little sharp. Still a little sharp. So if you've never intonated before and you're watching this to maybe pick something up, I guess what I will tell you is this is gotta have a little patience for this process. You gotta check and recheck and tune and retune and oh wow, that one's on. Yeah, I don't have to move that one. Cool. There we go. We are in tune, intonated. All right, now that everything's coming together, I'm actually going to reverse what I did on the truss rod. With these new strings, I ended up putting way more action in this than I thought. I wouldn't say way more. That's kind of an exaggeration, but it's just a little bit too much now. So I'm going to come back and just tighten this ever so slightly. I didn't even turn it that much, just that much. That was probably like a 1/16 of a turn. All right, last thing I'll do before we call this one good is the string height's good now. We got it radiused. I'm going to set the pickup height, and I can't think of anything else really left to do on this. I think that would include a setup. I've tested the electronics off camera, and I might play it for a second. I guess the other thing I can do is pop this off and tighten up the nut's a little loose. We'll tighten that up for the customer. Now these you got to be careful not to just like tighten them and spin the potentiometer inside the instrument. That's how wires break. So as I'm tightening this, I'm kind of holding the shaft in the opposite direction. There we go. Got it mostly tightened with that, and then I'm going to come in and kind of cinch it down a little bit harder with a T-handle. There we go. You don't want to overdo it. If the potentiometer spins inside the instrument, you can break the wires, and then you've turned a simple nut tightening into a all-out electronics repair. This is coming up. The screw's loose down here. Tighten that up for them. Much better. This pot's a little loose. We're going to tighten that up too. There we go. Again, rotating the opposite direction I'm tightening the nut at in hopes that the potentiometer does not spin. At least till I start to get a little bit of a, I guess, friction where it's tightening on up on the plastic pick guard. And then from there, send it home a little bit. Try to prevent it as much as I can from spinning so that I don't break any wires inside. Put these on. Pickup height. So for this I use the gauges. I like to use the two big ones on the Stumax set, but I will kind of undersize these. So when I put this under here, I will make sure it takes a little effort for me to slide this underneath. So this needs to come up for sure. That side. So when I put the bigger one, I forget how thick this is. So this is 3/16. That, yeah, I do have to actually take a little effort to bend up the string like that. And then on the treble side, we'll get the smaller one and the same thing. Because the factory, that's way too high. The factory recommended specs I've come across on most Fender pickups, they use like 30 seconds as increments. And these tools are like measured in 16ths. Something like that. But I remember they're in between the sizes of my gauges. So that's why I'm, there we go. It's just pushing up the string just like it fits, but I got to move the string just slightly. And that's where I want it, because from what I remember from these two sizes, it was just under these sizes. And so that's where I'm setting each and every one of these at. That one can come up on the bass side a little bit, the middle pickup. I know I'm a fan of Stratocasters. I wasn't always. When I first started liking guitar, I just liked the shredder guitars with Floyd Roses. And so it was just indicative of the style of music I listened to. And they're cool looking. And then as I started playing guitar a little bit later in life, more and more and more, I just really liked how comfortable these Strats are. You know, they fit against your body well, and you know the necks. I know everybody has their opinion. I like thin necks with a nice radius on them. Some people don't, and then to each their own. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody likes something different because everybody has different size hands and everybody has different anatomy. So everybody has different likes and needs when they play this instrument. So like, for example, I'm not the biggest Les Paul fan. Now they sound great. They're awesome guitars. But for me personally, I just don't like the way those big necks feel. And there are people who are like, what are you talking about? Those feel so great. And it's like, good. I'm glad they work for you, but oh, don't get me wrong. If I was given a Les Paul, I'd play the snot out of it. Cool. We got the pickup heights. One last tune. Maybe pluck a couple notes on this, and that's all she wrote. Let's do that. Turn on my little Laney amp under the workbench here I used to test on. We sell these little Laney amps too, although it's not on screen. It's not in view of the camera. It probably sounds awful. One thing I try to do is not turn this as loud, because when it's loud, it causes the compression to kick in on the microphone. I know this isn't the best sound demo, but it lets me hear it. All right, no buzz anymore. The action did come up a little bit, but I told the I told the customer it would. He said he was okay with that. I like to go through the pickups and strum them and just make sure they have a general similar volume to each other. I don't know any Hendrix songs I could play. Sounds good. This one's ready. It's set up. We got it intonated. Got the new strong strings on there, cleaned up a bit, and got it all set up. Took the buzz out of it. I think the customer will be happy with this one. Thank y'all for watching. Yes.